Please. My name is Casey Weinkoop. I'm Spokane, and I'm a part of the Indigenous Cultures Day Planning Committee. I will also be emceeing the stage all day. Indigenous Cultures Day is happening all throughout Seattle Center right now. I'm sure you could go anywhere in Seattle Center right now and find, some Indians. So go check them out. There's a traditional stage happening in the Armory with all sorts of cultural dancers. On the mural stage, there's powwow happening. And here all day, there's going to be a performance of Eagle Soaring, obviously, and then a bunch of contemporary bands. So thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce you to Jonathan Cunningham from here at the EMP. He's going to give you a couple words.
Hello. It's really good to see all you people here. This is great. This has been a collaboration a long time coming. I actually met Martha at a powwow over a year ago before I started working here at the EMP, and we talked about the possibility of having Red Eagle Soaring do something here at EMP, and today it's actually happening. So this is a beautiful thing. It means a lot to be working with Red Eagle Soaring. They're our community access partner. Fern, who does an amazing job. Everyone can hear Fern. Fern and I have been talking about this for a while. We've put in a lot of work and just been meeting after meeting, and she really loves what she does. And so I'm not going to say much. I just want to thank you all for coming and supporting the youth who are about to perform. And I'm going to turn the microphone over and just get ready to be blown away.
Those dreads. Yay, Martha!
Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to EMP. This is a dream come true for Red Eagle Soaring. My name is Martha Bryce. I have the honor of being adopted by a Tlingit family, and my name I am called Kazuzkakla, which I am told means mother of the bear cubs. So I've been with Red Eagle Soaring from the beginning in 1990, and Red Eagle Soaring has come a long way, especially in the last years that Fern Renville has been managing director. She's brought us to a whole new level. We have a wonderful board of directors. We have wonderful teaching artists, as you will see some of their work tonight. And one of the person that you will meet next, I'd just like to say a word about him. His name is Roger Fernandez. And he's been with Red Eagle Soaring almost from the beginning also. Over the years, I have personally asked him, Roger, we need a graphic for a poster. Would you do a drawing for us that's appropriate for our play? Or, Roger, we want the young people to work with some traditional stories this fall. Would you come and tell some stories that they can choose from? And on and on. And Roger has never said no. He's contributed so much to this organization. I'd like to personally thank him from the bottom of my heart right now. And what you will see today is the culmination and the extension of a story that means so much to this whole community. And I will turn this over now to Roger Fernandez. Thanks for coming.
Well, Siam. Siam is a word our people here in the Puget Sound use to say honorable people, good people. I try not to use a microphone. I was taught when I speak from my heart to your heart, I don't want anything between us. And so I apologize if it's difficult to hear me. But I'm so honored to have a chance to present this story that needs to be told. The idea of our continued resistance of our native people for 500 years and the fishing rights struggle of the 60s is an example of that resistance. It was not tribes all the time fighting this battle, it was families. Families who said, we have the right to fish. We were here before you, the salmon were here before you. We determined this relationship, not the state of Washington. And the state of Washington, of course, came down on our tribes, on our families, and our fishing people and said, we will determine for you when and where you fish. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. As many of you know, the Supreme Court said the Native people were right. They were right all along. They have the right to fish. It's not a controlled privilege by the state. It's our right to fish. But they had to fight to get that. We want to pass that on to these young people, that sometimes we have to fight to maintain what we have. Sometimes we have to fight to get what we know is right for our people. And these young people here, they're going to show you their courage as they stand up and present this story. So again, this story is not my story. This is the story that comes from our people. I hope I articulated it well in the way it's being shared, and I hope you understand that this story is just one of many, many across this country where Native people stood up and said, we determine our own destiny. We determine what is important within our culture and our tribes. Not the state, not the federal government. We determine that ourselves. These young people hear that message, and they're going to present that to you today. So again, I'm very honored to have been asked to share this story. I hope I did it justice, and I know the young people are going to do a phenomenal job. I look forward to this. Thank you.
My name is Fern Renville. I'm Siston Wapiton from Siston, South Dakota. I am the managing director of Red Eagle Soaring, and we are 2 days from concluding the 5th SEAP that I've been a part of. And SEAP is Seattle Indian Youth Arts and Performance. It also means my class friend in Lashitsi. And behind me we have Daybreak Star, which is where we hold SEAP. Although tomorrow we're heading down to EMP to do our dress rehearsal. And there's this whole arc that is part of production where there's all the excitement at first, and there's the frustration and the exhaustion and the exhilaration, and you have all these little peaks and valleys. And tomorrow, I think the adrenaline is going to start hitting us as we realize that we're 48 hours away from our performance. And you kind of need the adrenaline and the fear to focus you. And I'm really excited. I think that it's going to be amazing. Tomorrow, we're going to be getting, like I said, I think the adrenaline is going to hit our system, and it's going to help us focus. And we're going to be in costume, and we're going to be in EMP, and it's all going to start to seem really real. Then on Saturday, it's going to be really exciting because we've never performed in a space like this that has all of the bells and whistles that EMP does with the light show and the sound system. And I think that myself and all of us are feeling that there are creative things as artists that we can do to help mobilize people to defend salmon. And I think that actually one of the big things that Red Eagle Soaring does is to help young people understand the connection between social change and the art that we make. And I think that most people's eyes glaze over and they get bored when you talk about statistics. And that we're all way more open to hearing a story and to having our hearts and minds moved by stories. The theme of this year's SEAP is salmon, learning about treaty rights, about the Northwest Native fishing rights struggle, about the threats to continued salmon survival, about the traditional ideas around why the salmon returned, because they made a promise, and they made a promise to them. But a theme that sort of started to make itself apparent to me is resistance, is Indian resistance to assimilation, to the disappearance of our traditional foods, salmon. I think that for me, the most fun thing that happens during SEAP is watching a bunch of people who don't think they can do something actually do it. I know that all of the mentors and our teaching artists love helping the kids to make a story come alive and do things they didn't think they could do, to get up on stage and sing in front of a huge crowd of people, persist and love one another and continue working towards our goals. And we always get there. We always get there.
A long time ago, in a village not far from here, there lived a little boy. He was a very, very bad little boy. He was always fighting and complaining. He was always mean and disrespectful. He was always cheating and lying. Do you know any little boys like that? Among our people, there's a powerful belief called the salmon people. We believe that salmon are not just a fish that swim in the water that we catch and eat. We believe that they are people like us who live in villages under the ocean. At certain times of the year, they put on salmon skin and become salmon. They transform from people into salmon and come up the river to feed the people in the land. These salmon people give us themselves so we can have food, so we can have life. Nah! So, we see them as the most powerful beings in the world. And because they do this special thing for us, they give us life. We must do special things for them. So we share the food we catch. We don't waste it. We do songs and ceremonies for them. And in some villages, they return the salmon bones to the water. The bones are returned so the salmon people can use them to be reborn, so they can grow again. Well, in this village, it was the job of the children to return the salmon bones to the water. When the grandpa said, "It is time to return the salmon bones to the water," all the children, except one, ran to the pile of bones by the fire, scooped up handfuls of bones, and headed out the door down the trail to the river. All the children did this except one. It was the bad little boy. He said,
"Leave me alone. I'm playing."
the grandpa said, "It's a very simple thing. This is how we show respect to the salmon people. Do it now." So he went to the pile of bones. There was only a few left. He scooped them up in his hands and headed slowly out the door, following the other children to the river. He walked real slow, and pretty soon he couldn't see anybody. No one was around, so he threw the salmon bones into the bushes.
There. No one will ever know.
And then he went home to play. One day, he was playing on some big rocks down by the river, and he accidentally slipped in the deepest part of the river. And he would have drowned, except for under the water, someone saved him. The salmon people saved him, and they took him back to their salmon village under the ocean. They took good care of him. They were very nice to him. They gave him good food and warm blankets. All he had to do every day was run around their village playing with the salmon children. He loved it there and said he would never leave. But one day, something happened that changed everything. One day, he was playing with the salmon children, and he saw a little salmon girl. She would try to run, but one leg was dragging behind her. It looked like it hurt when she tried to run on that leg. She would try to play catch, but one arm she could not lift up. It looked as though she had no bones in her arm. And right away, this boy knew what had happened. He knew that the salmon bones he threw into the bushes, like garbage, they were meant for her. And now, she was in pain. She was suffering because of him, and he knew he had to do something. So he went back to the salmon people and asked them to please return him back to his village on the land. He had important things to tell his people, and so they did. He came walking out of the water in front of his village, and they were amazed. They thought he had drowned so long ago, but here he was, standing right in front of them. They rushed up to hug and greet him, but he put his hands up to stop them. He said,
"Wait, I have important things to tell you. First of all, that mean, rotten little boy that you used to know is no longer myself. And second of all, the things we do on land affect the things that live in the water.
The things we do on land affect the things that live in the water. The things we do on land affect the things that live in the water."
We must respect and protect the house of the salmon people.
And this is what he taught his people from the time he lived with the salmon people in their village under the ocean. These hoy.
Can we get them to understand this land is not theirs anymore? We need them to agree to cede the land to the United States by this treaty so we can bring in more settlers. We need this to happen quickly, with no conflict, no war. Morgan?
Well, sir, it has been explained to them that shouldn't have driven at glass, but we are never truly seeing the gas idea. It seems they believe that we are welcome to guess them that this land is not to be owned by anyone, them or us.
We need them to agree to cede the land to the United States. We need this to happen quickly, with no conflict. Get their chiefs to sign the treaty as soon as well.
Governor, they keep talking about their old foods that they want assurances. They can always fish for salmon and dig up plants and roots and berries. It is always the first condition they bring up. Apparently, it's very important to them.
Hell, there's so many salmon in these rivers and saltwaters. We can fish for 1,000 years and there's still be a glorious abundance. Nobody eats salmon anyways. That's their food. And once we start raising our own cattle and our own crops, we can finish fishing and farming to these sea washes and they won't need to fish ever again. If that's all that's holding us up, give them our assurances. They will have access to the fish.
The governor and the great father say that you'll always be able to fish for your salmon. You and your children will not be troubled in the use of your stream. You will be able to fish in the Eagle fishing places. Promise will be kept by the Americans for as long as the sun shines, as long as the mountains stand, and as long as the river runs. You understand? Will you now sign the paper? Give us the word and we'll give you ours. Then king of new land. And live in peace. Just above the falls here. You local businessmen can contribute a lot of money to this project, but of course the state needs to step in and do its part. This dam can supply electricity to the entire region. It will drive the mills and factories. More people will come here to get jobs in the new industries. More factories, more people, more taxes. If you catch my drift.
Well, I certainly see the benefits of a dam quite clearly. Whenever we can tame a river and put it into our use, we show that we can bring civilization any place on earth. Even these Indians here are leaving their old ways in a couple of more generations.
We have to move quickly. There's big money behind this project with more money to follow. Your understanding and approval are crucial to this project. Is there anything we can do to help mitigate the process? Any contributions or enticements? Even you must admit that state policies and procedures can be time-consuming, and we don't have the time. My fellow investors will look elsewhere. Things will start to move right away.
Well, the only problem I see are these Indians here. See, those treaties they signed years ago guarantee they'll always be able to catch fish. Even you know if you build the dams, it will wipe out the fish runs. Unless you build fish ladders to help the fish upriver.
We already have that figured out. Modern science has a solution for even our problem right here. We can build fish hatcheries. That way the Indians can grow salmon like their crop and never have to rely on wild salmon again. Even they must see that that would be an improvement. Besides, we might want to build another dam a little upstream to increase electrical output sometime in the future. Fish ladders would just confuse things.
All right. I think I can write a few letters and we can expedite this matter relatively quickly. Remember, I'm going to be running for Congress next year.
As soon as I get back to town, I'll be writing you a campaign contribution check to show my support for the good work we do around here. We need men like you and others, men who listen to their constituents.
After the dam was built, they said we would grow fish now. And the hatcheries, they said it was better. But that first year when the salmon people came back up the river, like they had done it like they had done since before humans. As they came to the dam and they couldn't get past it, they tried to jump as high as they could, but it was too high. They wanted to go home. We gathered at the river to watch them. Many people were sad for the salmon. The world was ending for them.
Some of our people started to pick up salmon out of the water and one by one take them around the dam and put them in the river beyond. Many people joined them, but it was too little. Thousands of salmon died that first run after the dam. The whites told us it was a good thing that was being done. It looked like the end of the world. The river was cut off. It was dead. The salmon people were dying. They could not get home.
The Chinook salmon, or Oncorhynchus chowi, is found along the Pacific coast from Ventura River in Southern California all the way up to Point Hope, Alaska. It is also found in Northeast Asia from the Anadir River south to Hokkaido, Japan.
The
This is the largest of the 5 Pacific salmon species. When mature, the Chinook salmon averages about 36 inches long and weighs on average about 22 pounds. The Chinook salmon has distinct black spots along its back and both lobes of the caudal fin. It has black gums around the teeth and the lower gum.
Length of time spent in the Pacific Ocean varies from 2 to 8 years. Paul Chinook migrate up the rivers in August and September and spawn as soon as they reach their spawning grounds. Average egg production by a female is 5,000 roe. All adults die after spawning.
We told you Indians there's no fishing here. We told you there's no fishing anywhere along this river. You just don't listen, do you? How many times do we have to tell you? How many times do you want to go to jail? How many times do you want your skulls cracked? You're breaking state law, and I'll be damned if you even think you can get away with it. We try to be agreeable, but you don't listen. We take your nets, we take your boats, but you still don't learn. Come on, Tontos. Can't you learn? Can't nothing get through that thick skull of yours? You don't leave us any choice. We try to talk, but you think because you're Indians you got special rights. Well, guess what, Chief? Those days are over. The state owns the rivers and the state owns the salmon. We decide who, what, when, where, and why. Not you. Get it?
That's them, officers! Those are the ones I saw with the net right out over the bridge. I yelled at them to stop it, but they ignored me. I walked right up to them and said, I got a license to fish. Where was they? They just looked at me and didn't say a thing.
Don't worry, sir. We've been keeping an eye out for any illegal fishing. And these guys will get cited and hauled in. And all their equipment will be confiscated.
I have a license. I pay to catch fish. I follow the law. I mean, I saw a bumper sticker just the other day. It said, "Save a salmon, Cannon Indian." Well, I'm not a violent man, but I can understand how some might believe that. These Indians just won't listen. I mean, these people are bad.
Come on, Tonto. You know the drill.
That's what, only 20 fish in 2 days? Something is definitely wrong. It was bad last year, but this is even worse.
Well, if we can't send our best spots, then we won't do as well. Maybe it would be better if we went down to the bridge.
We can't go there. The cops won't be at the bridge. We can't afford to go everyone out. We get arrested.
And I can't afford to lose another net. This one took all the money I was saving to buy a new boat. If I lose the net, then I've lost a net and a boat.
How come there's not so many fish? I remember when I was little that I used to fall all the time.
There's a lot of things happening to the salmon. That dam kills the baby fish when they try to get downriver to the ocean. And then when they get to the ocean, they get netted by Japanese and Russians and who knows who else. And then when they come back here, they get hit by the commercial fishermen.
Then boom, all those dams hit. We keep complaining to the sand people. We're doing their best to keep the promise.
Come back to feed people on land. Everyone blames us for best fish company. Even the white guys have their folks here doing all the same.
Dad, can I get this fish to Grandma? Last time Jensen did it before that was, it's my turn.
We're just saying that, Tyrell. Grandma was so happy.
Are we going to sell the fish? Eat them.
I hope we eat them. I'm getting hungry.
There's not enough to even sell. After we get some of the old folks. Think we've made gas money, Terry? Don't seem like it anymore. Damn, I hope it's better tomorrow.
I'm just hoping we don't get busted today. The cops love arresting me in front of my family. It's good. I'll man like they're showing the boss.
Why is your job? Really, Dad. You went to college. You wouldn't get arrested if you had a job.
Sweetie, they'd still find a way to arrest your dad. Driving while Indian? DWI. Or they can arrest him anytime he's trying to play basketball. Assault with intent to harm. You cops just love arresting Indians.
Why? Why can't they just let us fish? We didn't hurt them. Indian fish.
The state is saying that this is their river and their fish. But we say no. Not just no, but hell no. We have a right to fish guaranteed by the treaties, and they can't tell us anything. We are a sovereign nation.
Our people have always fished. The state has only been here for 100 years. They got enough say in this. They got laws and guns and jails, but we have something stronger.
What is stronger?
We don't fish just because there's money when we sell them. We fish because the salmon made a promise, and they fight to keep it every year. They still come up this damn river even if it's polluted and there's a dam blocking it, because that's all they know. And it's our job to keep our promise to the salmon, to respect them, to accept their gift, and to fight for them if we have to.
Grandma says part of the reason some people are not coming back is that we forgot our brother promise. They're trying to make us forget that that's why we keep on doing this, so you can't forget it.
They want us to forget. I got took away to boarding school when I was your guys' age. Took me to Oklahoma to a school where they taught us white ways. I remembered some things and tried not to forget those little teachings my mom told me. But when I came back after I graduated, I still felt lost. I didn't know anything about fishing or being an Indian.
But you know so much. You can ask you anything about the old lady on Pella. Even Dad asked. No, Auntie, you know the salmon tongue. You know everything.
Girls, I had to work hard to learn anything I know. That's what you gotta remember. If you don't know, you gotta ask. I would go around and I'd visit people. I'd ask questions all the time. They probably thought I was pretty dumb, always asking me simple questions. But after you prove your heart is behind the questions, they will give you whatever they have. They won't give it to just anybody.
Let's go over and check out the shallows. They're not smarter than we are about these rivers.